In this lesson, we're going to be going through exercise 5G, which is all about algebraic modeling. What are our learning intentions? To know that algebra can model a variety of situations, to be able to apply an expression in a modeling situation, and to be able to construct an expression from a problem description. Let's first talk about a bit of theory here. It says many different situations can be modeled with algebraic expressions. To apply an expression, the pronumeral should be defined clearly. The known value should be substituted for the pronumerals. So we'll be seeing this in practice very soon. Let's begin with example 1. So what do we have to do here? It says, consider the equilateral triangle shown. So right here is our equilateral triangle. State an expression that gives the perimeter of this triangle. So we need to state an expression that gives the perimeter of the triangle shown. So as you know, the perimeter is simply just the addition of all the sides, So that means I'm going to go x plus x plus x. So I could write that down, x plus x plus x. Now here I have 3 lots of x. So the better way to write this would be 3 times x. But remember, we don't like writing that multiplication, so it should just be 3x. That is our expression. We're now going to use the expression to find the perimeter if x is equal to 12. So what this is saying is, if x is equal to 12, what's the perimeter going to be? So we're going to sub in x is equal to 12. And if we do that, we're going to end up with 3 times 12. Which is equal to 36. So all I've done is I've put 12 into the x position there to get 36. Perfect. Let's now move on to example 2. Example 2 says, write an expression for the perimeter of a rectangle where w is the width and L is the length. So now we have to write an expression for the perimeter of a rectangle. Now, whenever we're doing something like this, the first thing that we want to do is actually visualize what's happening. So let's draw ourselves a rectangle. So it doesn't have to be pretty, but there's a rectangle. And we're told that W is the width. So that means here is W, and also here is W. And L is the length. So this is L and this is L. Now, if the perimeter is the addition of all the sides, it's going to be W plus L plus L. So my perimeter will be W plus L plus L. Now, if I have 2 lots of W, that means I have 2W, and if I have 2 lots of L, that means I have 2L. So this right here represents the expression of the perimeter. The next thing that we're going to do here is find the perimeter of a rectangle if W is equal to 5 and L is equal to 7. So similar to what we did up here, I'm going to sub in these values into the expression. So I'm going to write that down. Sub in W equals 5 and L equals 7 into the expression. And by doing this, we'll be able to find what our perimeter is going to be. So we're going to start with 2W plus 2L, and into the W position, we're going to put a 5, and into the L position, we're going to put 7. 2 times 5 is 10, and 2 times 7 is 14. So our answer is going to be 10 plus 14, which is 24. That is going to be our perimeter. Let's now answer our final question here, which says find the perimeter of a rectangle with a width of 3 centimeters and length of 8 centimeters. So again here, what we're going to do is we're going to sub in when W is equal to 3 and when the length is equal to 8. And we're going to sub that into the expression. So we're starting with 2W plus 2L. And into the W position, we're putting a 3. And into the L position, this is an L, we're putting in 8. 2 times 3 is 6, and 2 times 8 is 16. And remember, we're told the units here. We're told that this is centimeters. So this is 6 centimeters, and this is 16 centimeters. So that means altogether, we're going to have a perimeter of 22 centimeters. That is going to be our answer. So what are we doing here? As you've seen in these 2 examples, we're first creating an expression, and then we're substituting in values to find our answer. Perfect. Let's do another one here. You might want to pause the video and see if you can do this one for yourself. It says write an expression for the area of a triangle where B is the base and H is the length. So again, you might want to quickly just do a bit of a sketch of what's going on here. We have a triangle. It has a height of h, and it has a base of b. And we need to figure out the area of this triangle. So an expression that represents the area is going to be my base times my height over 2. And we've seen this lots of times before. This is the general expression that we use when we want to find the area of a triangle. Remember, in algebra, we don't like that multiplication sign, so we're just going to write BH over 2. Now we can answer these questions. Find the area if the triangle, find the area of a triangle if b equals 7 and h equals 10. So we're simply going to sub in b equals 7 and h equals 10. So I'll start off by writing down, and I might do this nice and neatly. We'll start off by writing down this, and then I'll sub in 7 into the b spot. I'll sub in 10 into there over 2. 7 times 10 is 70 over 2, so my answer is going to be 35. Perfect. Let's move on to our next one. Find the area of the triangle when the base is equal to 20 and the height is equal to 12. So once again, we're going to sub in base, this time is going to be 20, and the height is going to be 12. So I'm going to write down what my expression is first. Then I'm going to sub in 20 into the b spot. I'm going to sub in 12 into the h spot. Now 20 times 12 is going to be 240 over 2, and 240 over 2 is 120, and we're also given units for this one, so make sure you put centimeters squared as your answer because it's area, so we have to square it. There we go. So there is our answer for that one. Perfect. Let's zoom out and let's just appreciate what we've done so far. We have been creating expressions and then substituting in values to figure it out. Let's just go through a few more examples just to make sure you really understand what's going on here. It says, if pencils cost $t dollars each, write an expression for the cost in dollars of 10 pencils. Well, if they all cost $t each and I want to buy 10 pencils, it's going to be 10 times $t, which is going to be equal to 10t. And you might even want to put a dollar sign there because it's how much it costs. Next, so that's my answer. 4 packets of pencils, if each packet contains 6 pencils. So the first thing I would want to find out is how many pencils am I actually dealing with? How many pencils are there? Well, if I have 4 packets and each packet contains 6 pencils, that's 4 times 6, which is 24 pencils altogether. And then I'm going to times that 24 by $t. So I'm going to end up with 24t as my answer. Next, we've got M pencils. So I'm buying M pencils. So this M represents the amount of pencils it is. So just like we had 10 over here, now we have M. So it's going to be M times $t, which is going to be MT. And that's my answer. Perfect. Next, a plumber charges a $60 call out fee plus $50 per hour. All right, we need to find an expression for a T-hour job. All right, so this one we kind of have to take a step back and ask ourselves what exactly is going on. So let's just pretend for a moment that our toilet has broken and we need to call the plumber. So we give the plumber a call and they tell us that they have a $60 call out fee. And what that means is that it's going to cost us $60 for them just to turn up. It's going to cost $60 even if they turn up and go straight back home. Just for them to come, it's going to cost us $60. And then let's say the job lasts 2 hours. They want $50 per hour. So they want $60 just for turning up, and then they want $50 for each hour they're there. So they want $50 for each hour they're there, and they want $60 just for turning up. Now we're being told here that we need to find an expression for T-hour job. So that means we're representing the hours with a T. So we're not going to write that. We're going to write a T there. That T represents the amount of hours they have spent at the job. Remember, we don't like that multiplication sign, so we're just going to write it like this. And this actually is our expression right here. And you need to appreciate that there are 2 parts of it. There's the call out fee part of it. There is the call out fee part of it, which is this. That is what you're always going to pay just for them to turn up. And then there is also the per hour cost, which is the 50T. So that is how much you're paying per hour. So let's just go through a couple of examples to show you what's going on here. So let's say something weird happens. Let's say you call the plumber, they turn up, but then they just go straight back home. Maybe they realize there isn't a problem at all. Well, in that case, that means T is equal to 0 hours because they spent 0 hours at your place. They literally came and they left straight away. Well, if they didn't spend any time, that means we're going to take this 0 and substitute it into the T spot. So it's going to be 60 plus 50, 0. 50 times 0 is 0, so it's going to be 60 plus 0. So that means it's going to cost you $60 if they don't even do anything. It will cost you $60 just for them to turn up, even if they don't do any work. Let's go through another example. Let's say they spend 2 hours there. So let's say it's a 2-hour job. You broke your toilet and it's a 2-hour job for them to fix it. Well, that means it's going to be 60 plus 50 times 2. So we're taking that T and we're putting it in there. 50 times 2 is $100. So they're getting paid $50 per hour. So if they stay there for 2 hours, it's going to cost you $100. But you also have to plus onto that the call-out fee. And the call-out fee is $60. So 100 plus 60 is 160. So that is how this expression is working. So we just went through a couple of examples there. It wasn't necessary. All the question required us to do was to provide this part right here, but I just wanted to really walk you through what's happening there. Now the question says, use the expression to find how much a 5-hour job would cost. Well, if it's a 5-hour job, that means T is going to be equal to 5. I'm going to take my expression and then I'm going to substitute 5 into the T spot. So I'm going to substitute 5 in there. And now I'm going to get 50 times 5. So I've got 60 plus 50 times 5 is going to be 250. And then I'm going to go 60 plus 250 is 310, and that's dollars. Because we're calculating the amount it's going to cost us. It's going to cost us? Yeah, cost. So make sure you're always including the dollar signs or the unit sign or whatever you need when you're answering these questions. Okay, last question. Last one. You might want to pause the video and see if you can do this one for yourself. It says, in Mary's fruit shop, lettuce sells for $2 each and a pumpkin for $1.50 each. We need to find an expression for Mary's takings after selling X lettuces and Y pumpkins. So if she's earning $2 for each lettuce she sells and she sold X lettuces, we would say that she has sold 2 times X amount. And then we're going to plus onto that 1.5 for the amount, the cost of a pumpkin, and she sold Y pumpkins, so we're going to times that by Y. Remember, we don't like the multiplication sign, so it's just going to be 2x plus 1.5y. That is going to be our expression. So just to kind of look at this for a moment, this 2 represents the cost of lettuce, and this x represents the amount of lettuces she has sold. And this 1.5 represents the $1.50 cost of each pumpkin, and the y represents the amount of pumpkins she has sold. So that's what the expression means, and you need to be able to create these expressions in order to answer the next 2 questions. So the next question says here, what is Mary's takings if she sells 4 lettuces and 3 pumpkins? So if she sells 4 lettuces, that means x is equal to 4, and if she sells 3 pumpkins, that means y is equal to 3. So we could say it's 2, and let me write out the equation first. The expression rather. So into the x spot, I'm going to put 4, and into the y spot, I'm going to put 3. So I'm going to get 2, 4, plus 1.5, 3. 2 times 4 is 8, and 1.5 times 3 is 4.5. 4.5 plus 8 is going to be 12. So that means she has earned $12.50. Let's move on to the next one. It says Mary sells 2 lettuces and 7 pumpkins. So that means x is equal to 2 and y is equal to 7. So you would say that we have 2x plus 1.5y. We now substitute in our values. So 2 plus 1.57. 2 times 2 is 4. and 1.5 times 7 is 10.5, and we're going to end up with $14.50. Perfect. And that is all the questions that we need to work through. Hopefully you found this useful and you feel confident in answering these questions. Let's just go through our learning intentions again. Do you know that algebra can model a variety of situations? Can you apply an expression in a modeling situation? And can you construct an expression from a problem description? Hopefully you can say yes to all those questions and you found all of this reasonable. I'll see you in the next lesson.